Okay, so taking a look at multiplying and then dividing rationals. Again, the concept of 1 is going to be super, super important here. What we're going to try to do is get rid of values like x divided by x is 1, x plus 3 divided by x plus 3 is 1, 7 divided by 7. These are all 1. We want to try to look for those so we can just cross them off. Okay, so we're going to start with division because that's what we want to focus on here is if we're dividing, it means the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. All right, so I've got 9x plus 9. That's the first thing that I'm going to do. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is can I simplify this? Okay, if you have a binomial by itself, put it in parentheses so you can remember. Okay, now this is sum product. What multiplies to -5 and then adds to +4? Well, now I'm going to get, well, x plus 5 and then x minus 1, right, is going to simplify, right? This trinomial is going to break down into that. Okay, so we're going to do this in a couple of steps here and identify what else we need to do here. Here we have dots. Okay, so what does that break down to? This technically breaks down to x plus 1, x minus 1, and then on the bottom right here, we're going to have GCF. So I'm going to do that in a second because you're going to realize you're going to need quite a bit of space here. All right, so first thing, on the right here, I've got x plus 5, and then I've got x plus 5, x minus 1, times now, the dots is going to be x plus 1, x minus 1. And then on the bottom, the GCF, I'm going to divide out 9 and be left with x plus 1. Okay, so these are all the techniques that we needed to emphasize here. And then we're going to look at, well, where are the 1s? What can we get rid of? Well, here, I've got an x plus 5 divided by x plus 5. On the right side, I've got an x plus 1 and an x plus 1. And then we've got one more, x minus 1, x minus 1, and look to see what we have left. If there's nothing left on the top, there is a 1 left on the top because we used our fancy forms of 1 up here to simplify. And then if you notice on the bottom, we still have just the number 9 left. So that huge, huge, huge expression right there turned into just to be the value of 1/9. Okay? All right, next example. Okay, next example, when we are multiplying here, okay, so we don't have to change anything. We're just going to look for our techniques. Right here, I've got dots, right, difference of 2 squares. And then up top, I've got a sum of 6 and then a product of -27, okay? Resist the urge to cross those off right away, okay? We need to form full and complete values of number 1. Okay, so I'm going to start rewriting here. I've got x squared in this first fraction, and then dots is x plus 9, x minus 9. And then I've got multiplying, we don't have to change anything. What multiplies to -27 and adds to 6? Well, x plus 9, x minus 3. And then what we have left in the bottom is just a 3x. Okay, so now we're going to kind of take a look at, well, what can we get rid of here? I've got an x plus 9, I've got an x plus 9, and then the other binomials don't cancel out, so I'm just going to combine these real quick. X squared, x minus 3 is left on the top, and then I've got a 3x times x minus 9 left on the bottom. Okay, now since we are multiplying here, since it's x squared times x minus 3 and 3x times x minus 9, we can now simplify, right? Because I've got two x's, so I'm going to be left with x to the first, and I get rid of that bottom x. So our final solution here is going to be x times x minus 3 divided by 3 times x minus 9. And then we are simplified. You can either multiply out again or leave it just like that. Okay? All right, we've got one more big example here. Again, if you have a binomial in the beginning right away, I like to just keep it protected. Right here, we've got a GCF. And then we've got a sum product and then a sum product. Okay, so let's just go ahead and break down one at a time. This x plus 2 is going to remain by itself. I'm going to divide out a 6 and be left with x plus 5 times. So that takes care of the first fraction. And the second fraction here, I've got some product on both. Okay, so the top one, what numbers multiply to 30 and then add to 11. Okay, so I'm going to have two values that multiply to 30, add to 11, x plus 6 and x plus 5. And then what numbers multiply to 12 and then add to 8? Well, x plus 6 and then x plus 2. So those are going to be simplified. And now what can I get rid of? Okay, and this is kind of the good part here. Since we're multiplying, x plus 5 is going to disappear. X plus 6, and then x plus 2, everything goes away. Remember, there's still a 1 up there. And the reason you cross values off is there's a 1, okay? And then we still have a 6 left in the denominator. That whole expression represents the number 1, 6, okay? All right, this is very algebra heavy. You know, learning your techniques of GCF and dots and sum product is going to be very, very helpful for you all to be able to understand how to do this effectively. Okay, hope this helps.